Good afternoon, and I welcome all of you most warmly to this enormous but well-ventilated hall. I welcome our graduates and their families and all of those who have supported them. Thank you for coming to this. It is truly wonderful that after 2 years we can meet and celebrate in public in this way. Would you please be seated? Professor Harper.
Pro-Chancellor, colleagues, guests, and particularly graduates, good afternoon. It is a great honour and pleasure for me to welcome you all to this celebration. I am delighted to congratulate you on your splendid achievement and to be the first to do so. Today is a cause for particular celebration because at last we are able to gather in person to honour those who are graduating today. It is a milestone for you, but also for those who have supported you in a multitude of ways throughout your university career, not least in times of stress or doubt. Many of them are here today, and I am sure you would wish to acknowledge their hugely important encouragement. Your academic achievements are all the more commendable because they have been won against a backdrop of unprecedented challenges. It is to your immense credit that you have navigated the ever-changing restrictions that so suddenly became part of our lives in early 2020, not least the curtailment of an on-campus experience and the prolonged isolation. The last 2 years have been unnatural, primarily because we are relational beings. We are made for unself-conscious companionship, not externally imposed seclusion. But in many ways, the difficulties you have faced during the pandemic have allowed you to develop and demonstrate qualities which will be of lifelong benefit. More, dare I say, than the skills imparted by any of the academic disciplines within which you've studied. You will forget the content of your studies, as well as everything that is said here today, but you have learnt ways of thinking that you will carry into the future and which will shape your contribution to society. To quote the late Nelson Mandela, "Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world," unquote. Education is much more than a tool we need to develop skills for personal advancement. It is about the acquisition of values that allow us to apply our skills and experiences to better the lives of those around us in many different ways. To paraphrase a sentence from the well-known love chapter from the Bible, "Though I understand all mysteries and all knowledge, but have not charity, I am nothing." What do you do is often the opening gambit in conversation when we meet someone. But more important and more lasting than what we do is what we are. Wisdom is a greater treasure than just intellectual knowledge. As Mandela implied, education is more about growth than it is about grades. and in the difficult environment that has been your experience in the last 2 years, you have become more aware of how to interact with others supportively, of the importance of community, of mutual encouragement, of being generous with your time, and of showing kindness in a myriad of practical ways. The University of Aberdeen has a long and distinguished tradition of graduates going out into all the world to make a difference through their various areas of expertise. As you follow in their footsteps, do so in confidence, ready to deploy the skills you have acquired in your studies. But more importantly, go out in the confidence that the understanding, empathy, integrity, and indeed the increasing wisdom which you have acquired through these difficult but enriching years will be your lifelong companions and attributes in a world which may at times seem chaotic and bewildering, but which is full of excitement, opportunity, and fulfillment. Congratulations, everyone, as you relish and cherish the simple joy of celebrating together. I wish you all success in whatever lies ahead.
Thank you. Professor Greggs.
Pro-Chancellor, I have the honour of presenting to you for the award of the degree Doctor of Divinity Honoris Causa, the Reverend Professor Catherine Sonderegger. Pro-Chancellor, members of the congregation, graduates. Professor Sonderegger's academic formation took place in some of the leading educational establishments in the United States of America. Following a bachelor's degree in medieval studies at Smith College, Professor Sonderegger graduated with a master's in divinity and a master's in sacred theology at Yale Divinity School, writing a thesis on feminist theology. Her doctoral studies were undertaken at Brown University and marked the beginnings of 2 themes which would follow her throughout her career: appreciative but critical engagement with the giant of theology Karl Barth, and thoughtful reflection on the relationship between Judaism and Christianity. Indeed, her work on recognizing the importance of Judaism and the Hebrew Bible for Christianity and Christian theology has been a deeply important aspect of the impact her work has had on the field, the church, and society more broadly. Having worked in ministry and hospital chaplaincy, Professor Sonderegger spent 15 years as a professor at Millbury College before moving in 2002 to her current position at Virginia Theological Seminary, where she currently holds a distinguished professorship. Professor Sonderegger is a theologian's theologian. She inhabits the traditions of the Christian faith in a way which allows creative, critical, philosophical, and spiritual formation in her theological teaching. She is, to my mind, and to the mind of many of my contemporaries, among, if not the, greatest living systematic theologian in the world. Whether one agrees with her conclusions or not, she is a theological force which needs to be reckoned with, and no one could ever come away from reading her work unchanged intellectually and in terms of their philosophical and theological presuppositions. In a field which has traditionally been dominated by men, she has written some of the most important theological books of the last decade. Her highly original and deeply thought-provoking first 2 volumes of her systematic theology will be read and reflected on for, I am sure, centuries to come, and we look forward to the 3rd volume with bated breath. While others might claim to write Theologie Totale, her work embodies such an approach, seemingly effortlessly and with tremendous elegance. More than this, Professor Sonderegger has executed the task of the theologian in a manner which is humble, prayerful, and always focused on the community. She has been a great friend of the Aberdeen Divinity Department, attending almost all of our international events, allowing us to read drafts of her work, and helping us all to glimpse something of the beauty and majesty inherent in our discipline. We have for a long time considered her one of our own, by temperament and approach, if not by formal position, and it is therefore a great delight to be able to present Kate, as we have been honoured affectionately to know her for this degree at the University of Aberdeen. Pro-Chancellor, for these and her many other contributions to higher education, to systematic theology, and to the Church, I have the honour to present to you for the degree of Doctor of Divinity, honoris causa, the Reverend Professor Catherine Sonderegger.
Ego te sacrosanctae theologiae, doctorum et magistrum constituo, creo, proclamo, renuncio. Et in signum caput tuum hoc filio orno, quod ut Felix vastunque sit, deum optimum maximum praecor. Dr. Armstrong, promoter of graduates.
Domine Procancellari, Domini Doctoris, Magistri, et tota Universitas, presento vobis hos candidatos, examine probatos, ad gradum doctoratus in philosophia promovendos.
Enuente senato placet promovere.
Ascendant Sarah Blakeney.
Ego auctoritate, quam sumi et potentis me principes, almae qui universitati implicem docerunt, te in philosophia doctorum et magistrum creo, in cuius rei testimonium caput tuum hoc filio orno, quod ut Felix vastunque sit, deum optimum maximum praecor.
Pam Corey.
Et te creo.
Daniel Cutts.
Ete Crow.
Caitlin Dugan.
Ete Crow.
Timothy Dunn.
Ete Crow.
Claire Hine Blanton.
Ete Crow.
James Letizia.
Ete Crow.
Nathan McConnell.
Ete Crow.
Marlene Reed.
Ete Crow.
Hannah Waite.
Ete Crow.
Alison Walker.
Ete Crow.
Solveig Marie Vang.
Ete Crow.
Caroline Matthew Warren.
Ete Crow.
Caroline Wilhelmsen.
Ete Crow.
Sangwon Yu.
Ete Crow.
Johar Dawood.
Ete Crow.
Item presento vobis hunc candidatum examine probatum ad gradum magistraticus in sacrosancta theologia promovendum.
Eluente senator placet promovere.
Ascendat lumen wing.
Ego auctoritate quam summi et potentissimi principes armae qui universitate implicita medosserunt, te in sacrosancta theologia magistrum creo, in curios rei testimonium capitum hoc pileo orno, quod ut felix vastunquis sit, reum optimum maximum precor.
Item presento vobis hos candidatos examine probatos ad gradum magistratus in litteris promovendos.
Enuenti sonatu placet promovere.
Ascendant Paul Soltis.
Ego auctoritate quam sumi et potentissimi principes almaequi universitate amplissimum endosserunt te in litteris magistrum creo, in cuius rei testimonium capitum hoc peleo orno quod ut felix fastunque sed deum optimum maximum precor.
Alistair Taylor.
Et te creo.
Item presento vobis hos candidatos examine probatos ad gradum magistratus in artibus liberalibus promovendos.
Enuenti sonatu placet promovere.
Ascendant Emily Garrow.
Ego auctoritate quam sumi et potentissimi principes almaequi universitate amplissimum endosserunt te in artibus liberalibus magistrum creo, in cuius rei testimonium capitum hoc peleo orno quod ut felix fastunque sit deum optimum maximum precor.
Kirsty Longstaff.
Et te creo.
Suzanne Robertson.
Et te creo.
Qui honores meriuerant, ascendant Lois Winter.
Et te creo.
Andrew Ewing.
Et te creo.
Anna Beggs.
Et te creo.
Taryn Douglas Brody.
Et te creo.
Alexander Bruce.
Et te creo.
Laura Burnett.
Et te creo.
Taylin Campbell.
Et te creo.
Costanza Caredu.
Et te creo.
Rue Cherednikov.
Et te creo.
Adam Christian.
Et te creo.
Emma Corris.
Ete Crair.
Jamie Cruikshank.
Ete Crair.
Cara Louise Davis.
Ete Crair.
Deborah DeVille.
Ete Crair.
Jitka Drachocka.
Ete Crair.
Ailey Galloway.
Ete Crair.
Rona Grant.
Ete Crair.
Tim Hunter.
Ete Crair.
Jakub Ivaniecki.
Ete Crair.
Simona Jezova.
Ete Crair.
Davide Lamparelli.
Ete Crair.
Lisa Layton.
Ete Crair.
Thomas Lindsay.
Ete Crair.
Luis Lopez Murillo.
Ete Crair.
Grace McAdam.
Ete Crair.
Cameron McBride.
Ete Crair.
Liam McDermott.
Ete Crair.
James McRory.
Ete Crair.
Mirit Meister.
Ete Crair.
Benjamin Morgan.
Ete Crair.
Connor Mulholland.
Ete Crair.
Douglas Murray.
Ete Crair.
Kieran Nimmo.
Ete Crair.
Sina Olison.
Ete Crair.
Jack Powell.
Ete Craig,
Aaron Rafat Esfahani.
Ete Craig,
Cameron Reed.
Ete Craig,
Owen Rippin.
Ete Craig,
Catherine Roth.
Ete Craig,
Sophie Shepherd.
Ete Craig,
Eleanor Stocks.
Ete Craig,
Karen Tragard.
Ete Craig,
Abby Trowell Gillen.
Ete Craig,
Emma Tulloch.
Ete Craig,
Marley Van Ostrand.
Ete Craig,
Cassandra Williams.
Ete Craig,
Gavin Williamson.
Ete Craig,
Anna Ray.
Ete Craig,
Eloise Jadis Younger.
Ete Craig, thank you. And now we have a musical interlude, and Christiana Helwig will perform Loch Lomond. And Christiana is a postgraduate student, and she's reading for the degree of Master of Music. She is a singer and a violinist, and this past year, Christiana has been a member of the University Chapel Choir and the Opera Society, and her studies are focused on vocal performance and composition, specifically for choral ensembles.
Where the sun shines bright on Loch Lomond, where me and my true love forever want to be, on the bonny, bonny banks of Loch Lomond. Oh, you'll take the high road and I'll take the low road, and I'll be in Scotland for ye, but me true love will never meet again on the bonny, bonny banks of Loch Lomond. 'Twas there that we parted steep, steep side, open Lomond, where in purple hue the highland hills we view, and the moon coming out for the gloaming. Oh, you took the high road, and I'll take the low road, and I'll be in Scotland afore ye. But me and my true love will never meet again on the bonny, bonny banks of Loch Lomond. The wee bird may sing, and the wild flowers spring, and in sunshine the waters are sleeping, but the broken heart sees me second spring again, though the woeful may cease from their greeting. I'll take the high road, and I'll take the low road, and I'll be in Scotland afore ye. But me and my true love will never meet again on the bonny, bonny banks of Loch Lomond.
Thank you very much. Dr. Armstrong, promoter of graduates.
Item presento vobis hos candidatos, examine probatos, ad gradum magistratus in artibus, liberalibus promovendos.
Enuenti Senato placet promovere.
Ascendant Alexandra Hutchison.
Ego atratati quam sumi et potentissimi principes, almae qui universitati amplissima medoserunt, te in artibus liberalibus magistrum creo, in cuius rei testimonium capitum hoc filio orno, quod ut felix fastunque sit, deum optimum maximum precor.
Heather Maxwell.
Et te crea.
Sarah Benedetti Lano.
Et te crea.
Jack Bogue.
Et te crea.
Ross Budge.
Et te crea.
Leon Killa.
Et te crea.
Istvan Mishkulzi.
Et te crea.
Paul Signoid.
Etche Clare,
Finley Taylor.
Etche Clare,
Alicia Vangel.
Etche Clare,
Ronya Vianamo.
Etche Clare,
Alex Woodley.
Etche Clare,
Laura Butler.
Etche Clare,
Jakub Pisarski.
Etche Clare,
Isabel Halfhide.
Etche Clare,
Rosie Florence Jackson.
Etche Clare,
Kerry Goton.
Etche Clare,
Nathan Laird.
Etche Clare,
Kate McDonald.
Etche Clare,
Adam McNay.
Etche Clare,
Julie Mickelson.
Etche Clare,
Ailey Morrison.
Etche Clare,
Thomas Mirison.
Etche Clare,
Nella Laura Pila.
Etche Clare,
Abigail Quinn.
Etche Clare,
Danielle Smith.
Etche Clare,
David Wilson.
Etche Clare,
Hannah Mackay.
Etche Clare,
Caitlin Thompson.
Etche Clare,
Jack Graham.
Etche Clare,
Elise Gourmelon.
Etche Clare,
Rebecca Harper.
Ete Crea.
Alexandra Smith.
Ete Crea.
Charlotte Compton.
Ete Crea.
Duncan Jaffrey.
Ete Crea.
Jack McKee.
Ete Crea.
Maria Sarah Samarco.
Ete Crea.
Michael Terrace.
Ete Crea.
Jade Thomas.
Ete Crea.
Mahmoud Ganduri.
Ete Crea.
Casper Muller.
Ete Crea.
Jan Prasmowski.
Ete Crea.
Vishal Shanoy.
Ete Crea.
Ewan Cram Mitchell.
Ete Crea.
Isaac Deste Guil.
Ete Crea.
Aaron Hollandskirk.
Ete Crea.
Natalia Roleder.
Ete Crea.
Kenneth Thompson Duncan.
Ete Crea.
Teresa Troyanova.
Ete Crea.
Abby Grigg.
Ete Crea.
Faith Bullman.
Ete Crea.
Sarah Learmonth.
Ete Crea.
Adriana Mendica.
Ete Crea.
Charlotte Marie Wilkes.
Ete Crea.
Item presento vobis host candidatos examine probatos ad gradum magistratus in sacrosancta theologia promovendos.
Annuente senato placet promovere.
Ascendant Sochima Ise Anoyai.
Ego auctoritate, quam sumi et potentissimi principes, almae quic universitate amplissimum docerunt, te in sacrosancta theologia magistrum creum, in cuius rei testimonium capitum hoc pileo orno, quod ut felix fastum quissit, deum optimum maximum precor.
Richard Bias.
Et te creo.
Holly Brewster.
Et te creo.
Item presento vobis hunc candidatum, examine probatum ad gradum baccalaureatus in sacrosancta theologia promovendum.
Eluente sonatu placet promovere.
Ascendat Andrew Murphy.
Ego auctoritate quam sumi et potentissimi principes, almae quic universitate amplissimum docerunt, te in sacrosancta theologia baccalaureum creum, in cuius rei testimonium capitum hoc pileo orno, quod ut felix fastum quissit, deum optimum maximum precor. Well done.
Item presento vobis hos candidatos examine probatos ad gradum baccalaureatus in theologia promovendos.
Eluente sonatu placet promovere.
Ascendant Susan McFarlane.
Ego auctoritate, quam sumi et potentissimi principes, almae quic universitate amplissimum docerunt, te in theologia baccalaureum creum, in cuius rei testimonium capitum hoc pileo orno, quod ut felix fastum quissit, deum optimum maximum precor.
David William McPhee.
Et te creo.
Matthew Munt.
Et te creo. I think he meant that you did very well. Thank you. Professor Sonderegger.
It is a great honor to be with you today, and I want to extend my congratulations to all the graduates, to the family and friends who are here to witness this important moment in the life of each graduate, in the life of the university. I want to especially thank Professor Greggs for his very warm and thoughtful and generous words in my honorary degree. This is a special moment in my own life, and I am grateful to be here and to join you as a graduate of this class. As Aurelius Augustine lay on his deathbed in the Roman city of Hippo Regius, the Vandals, a Central European people intent always on the riches of the Roman Empire, swept across North Africa and sacked the great city of the Maghreb, Carthage. As Carthage lay in ruins and Hippo Regius under siege, Augustine repeated a maxim he had learned in his youth. "Call no man wise," he said, "who weeps when sticks and stones go down to dust, and mortals who must die, die." That maxim belonged to the philosopher Plotinus, one of the last great pagan writers and moralists, and the lodestar of Augustine's own early search for eternal truth. As we think about our own commencement and future life in the academy, from one end of the academic spectrum to the other, Augustine's example instructs us in ways that we might expect and that surprise us. A great intellect, perhaps one of the most literate men in a literate late classical age, Augustine lived out his academic and professional life in the midst of violence and rupture. It is easy, when we think on these classical figures, to imagine a life cosseted away in the vast latifundia of the Roman Mediterranean, quietly conversing one to the other and preparing dialogues for private learning and major rhetorical contest. No surprise that we imagine such idols. Augustine himself, after his conversion or return to the Christian church, contrived to retreat to such a quiet life. He took his son, Adeodatus, his intellectual companions, who joined him in his spiritual quests, and his formidable mother, and retreated to a villa in Cassiacum outside Milan. There, Augustine lived in semi-monastic solitude, surrounded by books and worship, and sufficient leisure to deeply investigate serious, transcendent matters. It seemed ideal, and remains so for most of us academics. Just this gives our way of life the title, the Ivory Tower, conferred half in jest and half in contempt, but in longing too. For who in our world, as in ancient times, would not desire just what the young Augustine acquired for himself, a place of quiet, of orderliness, of simple security, of depth of intellect and of spirit? Not just utopians and pilgrims of all kinds, but artists, writers, mothers of young children, clerks in busy stores, all seek retreat and rest and purpose. Augustine and his companions had such a garden of delight, but for a few years. Soon he left the cities that defined his world, Milan and Rome, and headed across the Mediterranean to the rich, fertile land of North Africa, to Carthage and Hippo Regius, where his scholarly life would truly begin. Augustine was soon made priest, then bishop, posts he never coveted, yet took on out of conscientious duty. So many of us know about Augustine from his spiritual autobiography, The Confessions, that riveting account of his life as a young rhetor on the make, that we forget that Augustine spent almost all his life as an administrator, a writer, teacher, and cleric in a small provincial town, worlds away from the glitter of Rome and Constantinople, the intellectual heart of Christian imperium. Some of the greatest works of Christian theology and the generative works of cultural history and philosophical argument were written by a man in the backwater, weighed down with conflicts, chaos, and bitter internal debates of an institution faced with decline, with apathy and opposition. The Roman way of life, the complex of urban civilization, of militarism, of high culture, art, wealth, and of slavery and despoliation, all this was facing decay and inward rot, outward pressure and spent energy. Tucked away in North Africa, Augustine witnessed it all. He saw the steady retreat of the proud center of his universe, Rome, to distant capitals on the heavily guarded frontier, to Milan, then to Ravenna. He watched the concentration of power in the Eastern Mediterranean, and the emperors, who soon became Greek speakers, not Latinists, leaving the world of Virgil and Livy and Augustus, an island far from shore. Always war threatened. The borders were menaced all along the northern expanse. More and more wealth poured into the army, and emperors were successful generals, not scions of old senatorial families. Mercenaries of all sorts were pressed into service on the increasingly porous borders. Augustine witnessed the sack of Rome in 410, not surprising in light of every unmaking of the Latin Empire, but a shock all the same. The end of Augustine's life, the year 430, realized all the violence shadowed throughout the 4th century. Some 80,000 Vandals surged through the Italian peninsula, crossing the strait at Gibraltar, and brought the hounds of hell that is war into the far reaches of African Rome. This was the library, the schoolroom, the study of Aurelius Augustine. We know such a world, and our scholarly lives will be unfolded within it. We need look no further than Ukraine to see the scourges of war and the profound calamity it visits on the citizenry, on the soldier and the helpless, and the paralysis that has swept over the political and academic realms as they look on from the rim of Central Europe. Our intellectual work takes place in the face of such violence, And though our fields may not treat war and peace directly, any more than did Augustine's great treatise on the Trinity treat the Vandals and their quest, our minds and our cultures are haunted by it. We know, too, a kind of global violence that Augustine could only know in small measure, the climate crisis. Augustine's Maghreb was only a drought or a deluge away from famine, and he knew a world polluted by lead and mercury, poured into drinking water, fashioned into serving dishes, scattered over the countryside as the offscouring of smelting, fabricating, and mining, the wealth of the ancient world. But we know a pollution and poisoning and extinction that outstrips anything a Roman subject might know, for it touches all life, all systems, all water and land and air that we inhabit, the world over. Our art, our philosophy and theology, our intellectual and moral lives will take shape under this crisis, and we will find our place within scholarship accompanied by this calamity that threatens us all. Augustine's example tells us that the very heart of academic life does not evade such crises, nor thrive only when they abate. Rather, the life of humane letters takes shape and is forged under their impress. We may not devote our scholarship to these calamities, but our work must be strong enough. It must be purposeful and exacting and honest, such that it can thrive in their midst and bear witness to what unfolds before us. Augustine's example instructs us in a second way, too. Human life and the history of human life is never simple, nor its record unambiguous or pat. The story of Augustine's last years appears to tell the elegiac tale of the loss of imperial greatness and the overthrow of classical culture by the northern peoples bent on its destruction. Such was Edward Gibbon's stately and witty account of decline and fall. And the Christian church did not come through these 6 volumes unscathed. But the 5th century Rome was not the straightforward battle between civilization and barbarism, enlightenment and superstition that Gibbon and his descendants believed. We do not share our forebears' enthusiasm for empire, for example, at least of the Roman variety. Modern studies of the classical age have opened our eyes to the structures of imprisonment, enslavement, expropriation, and tribute that riddled the Augustan age. Augustine himself knew this long before our historians did, for in the City of God he noted that empires are thieves who rob with impunity. His very dying lines from the pagan Plotinus tells us that he long ago recognized that empires and realms, cities and statecraft do not partake of eternity, but rather pass away, not the proud stuff of dreams, but rather the frail creatures of dust. The actors in Augustine's final drama also do not exactly fit the caricature we draw up for them. Augustine, the bishop and vigorous defender of the Christian faith, turned to a pagan as solace in his last days, and taught Christians to despoil the Egyptians, the Greek and Roman philosophers to illumine and instruct theology. And the Vandals, those ancient enemies, were themselves Christians, Arian Christians, a heterodox version of the faith common among Germanic and Central European peoples. Moreover, like the Alans and the Goths, the Vandals pressed up against the rich borders of the empire, not because they were its enemies, but because they longed to enter in. These peoples often fought for Rome when permitted to do so. They happily settled and advanced Roman cities when allowed in. Their sons and daughters became imperial families when a few generations passed, and well into the 7th and 8th centuries, these people continued, as best the times permitted, a Roman-styled culture and organization. The Dark Ages, so beloved of our early history lessons, seems less and less a record of the past, and more a creature of 19th century myth of lost glory. Human history and human life are ambiguous, surprising, uncontained. Scholarship in the humane disciplines can only benefit from such clear-eyed honesty and such openness to the complex and gray-toned, and such restraint toward platitudes, generalities, and commonplaces. The liberal arts are not in their heyday, it seems, in the university or in the wider culture. We live under the domain and regimen of the efficient and the useful. But it will remain vital to any culture and to any human life to know its own past, to see it in its rounded complexity, to treasure its works of art, to study and advance its religious heritage, to investigate the real as it extends well beyond our grasp. This we must do in wartime and in peace, in leisure and in security, in poverty and in want, knowing that what we humans build, time and tide will wash away. For as Augustine said long ago, we count no one wise who weeps when sticks and stones fall down to dust, and mortals who must die, die. To build up, to see through, this is our common work together. Today, let us begin. Thank you.
Thank you. I call on the chaplain to the university.
Would you please stand with me for our closing benediction and procession? May the road rise up to meet you. May the wind always be at your back. May the sun shine warmly on your face. May the rains fall softly upon your fields. And until we meet again, may you be held in the palm of God's hands. Amen.